Hello and welcome to Accidental Magic. My name is Pop, artist, poet, human, witch. Today we are going to be doing a tarot reading for Mercury going direct. So it happened yesterday and there was a collective sigh of relief around the globe. But we are in the shadow period at the moment, like the aftershock epilogue, if you will. It's a bit of a joke, Mercury being in Gatorade, whatever. It's definitely got a very bad reputation, understandably. It's a time of miscommunication, delay, technological F-ups. Personally, I've found, particularly in the last few years, since I started working with Mercury as a deity, Mercury Retrograde has been a very powerful time for me of growth and transformation, an opportunity to really reflect on what I still need to work on. Even if you don't have any interest or belief in astrology, personally, I'm not super into astrology. I just find it a very helpful lens through which to view the world. And I certainly don't know that much about astrology. I just love my boy Mercury. At any time of the year, it is helpful to look back and reflect on what one has learned and how we can implement these lessons going forward. So let's get to it. That struck me was the numbers involved. So we've got 2 7s and a 3, and 3 chord cards. Everyone's represented except for the knight, and they're all different elements. I find this interesting because 3 and 7 just have that like Mercury vibe to me, you know what I mean? 3 being that forward growth, movement, expansion, communication. 7, like imagination, luck, those connotations. Reviewing, overcoming obstacles in order to reach our goal and our higher purpose. Let's look at the first one first. First things first, what lessons did I learn during this retrograde? So we've got the 7 of Wands. This is the Tattoo Tarot deck. The pip cards, the minor arcana, are not as like narrative as the Rider-Waite. So just for reference, although I do try not to let the Rider-Waite imagery inform me too much when I'm dealing with this deck, with the 7 of Wands, we have this guy on a hill and everybody is like trying to whack him with, or them, I don't know his gender, with their rods, their wands. And you might have felt like this during Mercury Retrograde, that like everyone was out to get you, that you'd finally got somewhere, and then like everybody was trying to take it away from you, or stuff just kept going wrong, and you were like, oh my god, what's going on? I'm like under attack. Like this person's fighting from a position of advantage. And I think that is a important thing to be aware of here. And there's a centeredness here with the main rod. And in terms of lessons learned, think a bit about those conflicts that you faced now. Did you maintain your center, or did you lose it and try and go and put out fires and leave your hill to solve the problems? For myself, I feel like I'm becoming more and more aware of how my inner state affects everything around me, right? And practicing being responsive rather than reactive. During this time, I had a few wobbles, but I was able to bring myself back to center very quickly using the tools that I have developed. And for me, that was a very important lesson because it showed me that I do have this power to overcome any challenges if I stand my ground and maintain my center and my personal integrity. So with the Seven of Wands, I think of like some martial arts master and everyone like coming at him from every angle, and he's just in his center and he's not even doing anything, he's not even fighting, he's just whooping the energy around or whatever, and they can't get him. So are you there yet? Are you there? Are you beginning to realize the importance of holding that energy so that everything else doesn't fall around? Are you making sure that you don't get distracted by the things that are going on around you? Well, and don't be tempted to lose your center and to go off and try to fix things. In terms of the retrograde, what might have happened is you did lose your center, but where you lost your center is good because it shows you what you still need to work on, right? It shows you what still needs to be healed, what still triggers you. If you have done a lot of healing and then now you were like quite badly affected by something, what is it that you need to work on? So for how can I apply this lesson to my life right now, we've got the Queen of Pentacles reversed, which I think is very relevant to this. The first thing that comes to mind is self-care, okay? The Queen of Pentacles. So let's first look at her in her upright position, in her wholeness. She is, you know, this earth mother, this abundant, loving, generous person who just gives to everyone around, to community, to family, to the earth. And she lives in a state of abundance that's not just defined by money, right? It's health, love, exchange, bounty, natural bounty, etc., etc. And she knows how to flow with that as well. And she's very present. She's very centered. She's very practical. She's grounded in reality. She's integrated into her environment, into her community, into herself. She's not separate from the material world. She also has a deep understanding in my mind of death and loss and the place of that in the cycle of things. You know, that's changing of the seasons. Look at her, it's beautiful, bejeweled. So the shadow side of that can be over materialism, can be extravagance, it can also be disconnect from, you know, environment and community and family and everybody around. So if you are giving to everyone else, perhaps turn that energy inwards and start giving to yourself. Because ultimately, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. And by nurturing that inner self, you will be able to face any difficulties that come at you because your center will be strong. A lot of that might have to do with healing something quite deep, perhaps to do with a mother wound or something from childhood. I mean, that's a very general message. Like anything can be solved by like solving your childhood, you know. Okay. Some of the other shadow sides of this motherhood figure could be smothering, of course, being overly controlling, being overly involved, and not letting, because you know she's a nurturer, she's nurturing this garden and not actually letting these plants and these people grow. It could also be warning of the other side of that. Are you perhaps being stingy with your time, with your energy, with this argument of, oh, I need to just like sort this out first, I need to sort myself out first, I need to hold on to all of this before I can give. And the Queen of Coins reminds us that that state of abundance is all about, and that giving to others of time, etc., like there needs to be a balance, but it is also part of what can feed our soul. You might also be feeling out of touch with your environment, perhaps also an excuse that, oh, I can't focus on my house because I'm, you know, like I'm too busy and I have to sort this out, da 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 da. Our environment is part of us in the extension. So if there's something that needs to be dealt with in your environment but you've been putting it off, it could also be a reminder about that. And also to stop looking too much outside of oneself to fix things. Are you spending extravagantly because you think that, oh, okay, cool, I'll be happy as soon as I've got this, or my life will be sorted once my, you know, desk is organized. So I guess really just embody the Queen of Coins. Think about how this energy is unbalanced in your life, and how you can nurture yourself and your environment, depending on who's kind of not being nurtured. And also that nurturing your environment is part of nurturing yourself. It could also be reassessing what greed is to you and selfishness. We've got the Knave of Swords next. Look, it's Mercury. Hi. For real though, for real. This one was, how can I make the most of this shadow period? So the Knave of Swords is, he is quick-witted, quick-tongued, full of energy, imagination, enthusiasm, like decisive action, and looking at things from a new perspective. So for this reading and how it relates to what's come up so far, I would say that this is an opportunity to look at yourself and your situation with new eyes, with a new like lens of truth, of a truth. Yeah, don't really believe there's one truth. And also to really to lean into new ideas and new ways of doing things, new ways of seeing things, and to be direct with your communication and what you need, especially if you are in a situation where you're needing to have some self-care so that you can like deal with life. Like, do you have somebody who maybe doesn't quite get that you need to speak to about this? And also, yeah, with the Seven of Wands is also I would say like an opportunity to investigate and really examine what's working and what isn't working in your life and your general balance, you know, like work-life balance, environment self-balance, family self-balance, etc., etc. Okay, what changes do I need to make in my life? Seven of Cups, we've got, you know, very like pie in the sky, all these amazing magical cups. Yay, beautiful, look at all these options. We might feel overwhelmed by options and ideas and possibilities. It's very much a card of fantasy and imagination, which can be good, but there's a dark side to that as well. I know for myself, I often get lost in like this dream, right? And I get so excited about this dream and I start developing it so much that I feel so proud of myself for this dream, and then I don't do anything about it. So reversed here, I would say to move out of that and into reality, which might mean having to let go of some of those cups, realistically. But also, you know, I guess ultimately we also shouldn't let what other people think are the achievable cups to define which cups we pursue. If you haven't been pursuing some kind of goal or dream of yours, why is it? What is holding you back? Is it because it's safer to have it as an undone thing, as a future plan, as something, because once you actually start doing it, then you might fail, and then that's it, the dream's dead. This is encouragement to move past that. Okay, you need to start doing the things. How can I make these changes in my life? King of Cups, reversed. King of Cups, in his uprightedness, is a character who is perfectly in control of his emotions, of his subconscious, his creativity. Kings are rulers. They have control, they have limits, they've learned to master their suit. It's not so much the like pure expressive energy of the Queen. King of Cups has mastered his emotions not by pushing them aside, not by trying to be like a King of Swords, you know. He has mastered his emotions by fully understanding them, by doing like deep, intense shadow work around his feelings and his subconscious and his fears and his desires and his blockages and all of that stuff. In the reversed position here, I would look at it again to think about how this is imbalanced in your life. Are you overly emotional? Do you find yourself having these exaggerated emotional responses and you like don't even know where they come from? Do you find yourself very creative but with no like control and structure on how to actually do anything with that? Or the opposite, are you just like completely blocked? Have you completely detached yourself from emotions? This is a call for some deep subconscious work and emotional deep diving. A look at like childhood stuff, I'd say. Thinking about who really defined and role modeled your idea of coping mechanisms and emotional responses when you were growing up. Related to the fantasies as well, like who defined your idea of creativity and like feasibility, you know what I mean? Who were your artistic heroes who championed your creativity, and who put it down and said, no, that's not a logical, rational pursuit, you know? Yeah, there's something that needs to be healed here. And when those emotions have been mastered, like all the rest of it comes together, you know, all the rest of it comes together. It could also be a person in your life that is somehow impeding your progress of like whatever you need to do here, making these dreams a reality. My first reaction to this card actually was to think of a friend of mine / business involvement thing, very King of Cups. But I feel like as a person here, it's secondary interpretation. I would first look at how this relates to you. Last one, what area in my life needs more clarity? 3 of Coins, reversed. Personally, this relates a bit to my King of Cups character and questions about whether or not I would be better off working alone. But in general, you might have gotten to a stage where you feel like it's time for the next step, probably in business, and you're not really sure what to do next. Like maybe you're not fully confident in your own mastery of the craft. Maybe you don't feel ready to step out on your own yet, and you are questioning this. It could also be often, like when it's reversed like this, it can be to do with poor workmanship, because we've got like the mastery and then there's something lacking. You might not be fully aware of what is wrong, like what your weaknesses are in your business or whatever your endeavor is here. For me, I'm just thinking very much of this stuff in terms of business, because that's a lot what's going on in my life, but it relates to all of that. It relates to the emotional mastery, it relates to the work-life balance and the integration and being present. Here I would ask this guy for help here. Really don't be afraid to ask people as well what is working and what isn't working, and get feedback from people you trust. But the fears around your own worth, like, that's shadow stuff. That's not really based in like objective reality, if you ask me. And I feel that, like, when you have healed this stuff, the rest of it will fall into place. Oh, that's another thing about the Queen of Coins here. I do feel like it is an opportunity to really look at your limitations in terms of how you understand abundance and connection, and to be present and grateful, really grateful. Look at the way, like, where in your life you're being ungrateful. If you're imbalanced in the sense that you're sick, you're feeling sick, which ways can you show gratitude to your body? If you're imbalanced in that you're lacking like the financial abundance, where can you recognize abundance in your life now? Because you know how it works, whole manifestation thing. It's only like starts coming once you start being completely accepting of where you are right now. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm signing off. I hope that you found some of this helpful. I know I did. Bye.